is Christina Barr. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello, hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about a bit of an outrage train, and I don't mind jumping in on it because everyone's dogpiling on Target, and it's not my favorite place in the world, if anyone knows me. So people are upset about their Pride section, and particularly some stuff that they have for kids. So Target has been deep into the LGBT pride celebration stuff for a while, so it's not really, I guess some of the stuff should be like, I know it's kind of shocking in general, but it's if it, for any corporation, not too surprised about Target, but people are saying that we should boycott and other stuff, so I want to talk about that. Also a bit of, want to touch on the Durham report again. And also, my sister showed me, brought to attention, this video that people were talking about that Dove made with a video game company, and looking at body positivity and stuff. But it's such a, for reasons that we will get into, it's just such a silly commercial that I want to touch on. So before we jump into everything, I want to encourage you guys, go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, etc. Thank you guys for watching live. I really appreciate your compliments and your encouragement. I see you in the chat. I see you guys as you comment later on things and watch back. You know, I know people watch it live, sometimes at work, on their way home from work, or etc. If they're not working. But I know people will watch later, and it's very, very much appreciated. And the chats, you guys communicating with each other, talking to each other when I can't always talk back directly as I'm trying to get my thoughts out, it all really does help. So I'm grateful to you guys, thankful to you guys as we continue to grow the channel and continue to build the website, etc. But yeah, check out different things on the website, different articles and so on. I did have a video, an interview with Riley Gaines that I published last night. So if you have not watched that, please watch that and please share it. Not just because I did it with her and it's my content, but because the things that we talked about were really, really important. And a lot of people do not know how dire the situation is, because what those girls went through was abusive. I believe it was abusive. How they gaslit them, tried to indoctrinate them, how they berated them, how they just overran their feelings to appease a biological male. It just didn't make any sense other than flexing their authoritative might. And it was cruel. So I think people really need to know. And thank you for the compliments for the people, saying it was a good interview. I'm looking forward to having more guests on my show, and hopefully having Riley back in the future. So she said, she'd come back anytime. So I'm going to at least ask her again. But I'm very grateful to her. And there's something I also want to talk about as far as like a comment that someone made about the video as well. So we'll get into that in a second, but please go check it out and please go share it. Check out other articles and things that I have on my website. Please check out different merchandise that we have on the website, including my book that I'm reaching for. Of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion is available on my website, so you guys can check that out. Why did I take a theological approach? Because I was sick of people getting things so wrong. Like, I could took just a solely like scientific stance and right stance to philosophy, which I cover those things, but I was sick of people saying life starts at first breath. I'm like, where does it say that? So it talks about a lot of things in the book. So if it interests you, you can go get it on Amazon. You guys can go get it on Barnes and Noble, and you get it for your e-reader. You guys can order a paperback. So I'm excited because Comic-Con is this weekend. So my sister, who will be joining me shortly, she will also be there with me this weekend, selling some of her art, and I'll be selling my books. And so if you're in the Metro Detroit area and or close to that drive, you plan to go there this weekend, I will be there at Comic-Con. So if you're interested in, getting a signed copy of a book, you can. I got a bunch of books that were delivered to my house not too long ago. So I'm going to I have one photo that maybe some of you guys have seen. I guess I'll show it. This will probably be the last time I really use this one now. Where is it? Where are we at? Here we go. This photo here is me with my 15 books. So now I got copies of, I had some that were out of stock. So now I have a copy of every one, including my 2 newest books, which the 16th was, of course, God is Blank Against Abortion. And the newest one is my book, Embers on a Dying Moon, which I do not have in reaching distance. So I can't show you guys. But so I'm going to take a new photo with my 17 books. So I do write mostly fiction, and I have 2 nonfiction books. One is an abortion book. The other one's Slave Free, How to Overcome a Spirit of Fear. So guys, you guys can check out paperback, middle grade books for your kids if you're looking for something wholesome and good for them to read, and stuff for, your older teens, and maybe if you like young adult. I got a lot of stuff you guys can check out. If you go to blackteennews.com, hit the merchandise banner or page, there's a banner with my books on it. I'll take in my book website, or you can search my name, Christina Elbar, on Amazon. And thank you to you guys who have purchased my stuff, people who have followed me. It's very much appreciated. And last thing I will say before I move on and get to the meat of the stuff, if you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blackteennews.com/donate, cost stream, run my website, all that good stuff. So if you can support, I very much appreciate those of you who go above and beyond. I know everybody doesn't have that extra money in their pocket that they can maybe do that, and I totally understand that right now. So I do thank you to those who can, but otherwise I thank you guys for commenting and for sharing and telling other people to watch Black Teen News. All of you are very much appreciated. If you're watching on Facebook, you can send stars. If you're watching on YouTube, you can do also super chats, but you guys can obviously always just go to the website. So I showed this clip yesterday. I'm going to show it again because I want to talk about a comment. I think this person already deleted it because I did just go to check and I didn't see it there. I could go check again. Maybe it is there. But I'll play the clip and then I will talk about what I found to be so disturbing about their comment. Now this clip's a little bit different because I did add another segment to it from the What is a Woman documentary. And so if you've seen this YouTube short, I did post this today. So here we go.
The female swimmers at University of Pennsylvania I talked to at great lengths about this because this is something they really dealt with every single day. What they went through is criminal. They were forced every week to go to mandatory LGBTQ education meetings to learn about how just by being cisgender, they were oppressing Leah Thomas. When they were concerned about the locker room and they sent an email to their administration alongside their parents, their administration responded back with, and I swear I have a screenshot of it, their administration responded back with, if you feel uncomfortable seeing male genitalia, here's some counseling resources that you should seek.
So Penn actually brought in people high up in the athletic department to talk to us. They brought in someone from the LGBTQ center. They brought in someone from the psychological services.
So you're upset about what's happening, and so
Yeah.
you need psychological help.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go watch the whole thing on YouTube. So please, it is on Facebook and stuff, but you can watch it on YouTube, find it easily enough. And go watch the whole thing. It's a little more than 30 minutes long, and we talk about some really important stuff. I don't know if people are aware of kind of how bad these girls were treated during the whole thing. But it was pretty bad. And for no good reason. There was no justifiable reason to treat them that way. But There was a comment I saw earlier, and they said, imagine hating men so much that you don't want to see penises in the locker room. And I commented under their comment, and I said, well, one of the girls, which Riley talks about this in the interview, one of the girls was recently sexually assaulted by someone she did not know. So there was actual trauma associated with some of the girls that were in the locker room who did not want a male in there with them. And these some people are so sick. So many people are so sick. And I was having a conversation, I can't remember if it was my sister Katrina or maybe it was Tina, talking about the locker room situation. I'm like, there's going to be some people out there who are going to say, or even people, I guess, who counseled the girls and were trying to help them just kind of get over it, that think that they should be in those locker rooms and seeing those penises that they didn't ask to see and just be cool with it, just be okay with it. And I think that's so weird. And maybe you're out there thinking that we need to be not a prude society. There's people who have thought that before, like Arthur Kinsey. Go look up the kind of stuff that he was into and what he did to push our society into a more less polite society. Did some pretty heinous stuff, but that I will not go down the rabbit hole today, but you can look it up and be totally disturbed for the rest of the afternoon, like I was when I looked the man up. But some of it is maybe like trauma and fear, and some of it is just like just blatant, like maybe just a little like shyness and embarrassment, or just don't want to see that. And that's fine. Like I'm unmarried. I'm not ashamed to say I'm a virgin and wait until, I'm married. Could you say, well, Christine, what happens if you never get married? I guess I'm dying a virgin. But, it just is what it is. But I've only seen one, live action, dingleberry before, I guess. And I was in art school and we were drawing models, and he was very expressive, and everyone was just like, oh, you poor baby. And my dad was so mad. He was so mad, but at least I knew it was coming. It was going to happen eventually. But being in high school, and I know these girls are in college, but when I was in high school, I was so shy about just being in the locker room changing and stuff, that like after gym class and stuff like that, I would go in the stall myself. I didn't like to change out in the open. So a lot of these conversations about men being in the girls' locker rooms, like biological males, and I just can't imagine being so shy in the first place around other women. And it is not, and I don't think it's because I like outwardly hated my body or anything like that, because I've always been a big girl, but I've never had like self-hatred about my form. I've always been carried my weight with dignity, I think, so it wasn't even like, oh, I'm so embarrassed what to have like huge knockers. Like, no, like not really, but they're mine. So I just never felt like they were mine to share. So I don't know. I was always so shy. I don't know. I don't know if there's a good way to explain it, but I'm sure many people can relate, even though this isn't the time where I'm particularly articulate like I'm usually am. But I assume a lot of people can relate. So I just can't imagine being thrusted into that situation and then having men that you don't want in there with you. And then just like typical co-ed kind of shyness, embarrassment. There's also a mix of women who've had different traumatic situations, and they're literally being forced to just go along with the situation. With someone who should not be competing against them, who they're saying it's non-negotiable, has to swim with you guys. and you guys are the problem, and you people are oppressing him, and he's towering over them, you know, and he's a pervert, you know, um, and they probably didn't know all. I don't know how much they knew about him at the time, but there's things that have come out to light about him afterwards that just like, this is not a person I would want to share a space with. So stop trying to force yourself upon women, trying to force women to be okay with things that they're not comfortable with, that they're not ready for. In other situations, we just would not, we wouldn't tolerate this. If this was any other situation other than transgenderism, we just would not. So that's what's so bonkers about it. So please have more respect for women than this, especially young women. Especially young women. I really admire what Riley was doing. You know, she's very wise, she's very mature, seems to have her head on straight, but she's still just a young girl, younger than I am. So anyway, please go watch the interview and please share it with people, because again, it is really important. So anyway, I just want to really quickly talk about the Durham report and about the Russia collusion, the Trump campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign, basically starting that, the FBI looking into it, knowing that it was always kind of flimsy, but their bias had them keep going, that Obama and them knew about it, you know, the whole time, and they kept pushing it, and it took over the election, and it took over like Trump's presidency, and there's people who still think he's a Russian asset who makes out with Vladimir Putin on horsebacks and has peed on Russian prostitutes, and all the stuff that has come out and not been true, but people have fantasized and just incorporated it into their Trump derangement syndrome. And there's a lot of people in mainstream media and on the left who are just really, really downplaying it. And they're saying, well, this is a dud. This isn't even anything that's new. And I'm like, I mean, it's a detailed report. It's a 300-page report of all this stuff that's pretty much happened. And I guess what's not too exciting about it is, from my perspective, it's just like, yeah, I knew all this stuff. Like this, like I know it's good to have, I guess, this confirmation, all this stuff on paper. But yeah, it's really evident that this is the stuff that's been going on. That doesn't make it good. That doesn't mean that it's right. I heard Ben say this is like one of the biggest political scandals in history, and I think that's correct. I mean, it is way worse than Watergate, but and even people who have criticized Trump for his actions, like I read a tweet from Piers Morgan, because someone was like, I want to know what Piers Morgan has to think about after this Durham report, and because he's confronted Trump about how he's treated the media and pushed back against these stories and allegations and stuff. And Piers was like, after this report has come out, it does really explain his attitude, you know, and so in a way it vindicates him a lot. But man, I just wish that he was a bit more restrained in his behavior in other ways, because it really feels, we know that he got a raw deal in so many kind of ways, but at the same time, you know, he makes things difficult for himself too. So there's still no excuse for how he was treated. That the FBI spent so much time on something they knew like had no merit, for the goal of what? Because you didn't like the guy, because you wanted to undermine him. Well, you did. You didn't stop him from being president, but you definitely hindered his presidency, and made the American people really have a lack of faith in who was elected. And so people talk about ruining democracy and undermining democracy and the faith in our election process and all that kind of stuff. What do you think that people have been doing with the Trump-Russia collusion? What do you think people have been doing? So that's all I really want to say about it today. I'm going to move on to the Target thing, but it's just amazing just how bad things are, and I don't foresee it getting better anytime soon. But we just got to keep talking about it, I guess. Maybe enough people will wake up, and I recommend, getting some screenshots or something if you want to talk about the Durham report. I'm sure there's people who still, believe the, Trump peeing on Russian prostitutes, horseback, gay lover, Vladimir Putin kind of stuff. You just got to have a couple of key talking points and, run from there, I guess. But some people are never going to let go of what, Adam Schiff said or McCabe or other people said the first time on mainstream TV. And people know that they can lie, and the lies will stick, and they will just get away with it. And that's why they do it. And I hate to be so cynical. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. So people are really upset about Target and their pride section. So this video was posted online, and so it's been viral and it's made the rounds in a lot of different places. But I don't mind dogpiling on Target. It's not my favorite place in the world, in the least bit, and we'll get to why.
This is fucking Target. Pride lights. This is such bullshit. LGBTQ designed sandals for your kids to wear.
So yeah, there's a little onesie right there.
Naked women on t-shirts. Naked women on t-shirts at Target. Oh, and this might be a trans naked man on a t-shirt.
Yeah, so I don't know why any person would want to wear that. Those are such unattractive forms. Yeah, I don't get this blob misshapen art thing. I don't understand. Like I've seen like this stuff a lot. And I don't know if it's a particular artist just kind of making rounds. I don't know if it's just like a style. Someone said Target. Don't I mean Target? For the people trying to be bougier than what they deserve to be. The Target. Let me pull up a picture of that I got from the screenshots from some of the stuff. But yeah, Target has been full on, pride from their trainings and stuff that they do for a while. They've had pride sections in their stuff for a while. 7 years ago, if you can believe it or not, it's been that long. I don't know how old everyone is watching. So you're like, 7 years ago, I was still a young lad in elementary school or something. But, when a lot of this transgender debate stuff happened, Target announced that you could have trans women in the bathroom. There was like stories about like men going into the bathroom or something like that and people flipping out. And people started boycotting Target. And I believe that did do a dent. I mean, at least there was stories about doing it a dent. And then they kept trying to woo people to come back in their stores. So now Target, I don't know if all Targets have a third bathroom, but the one where I worked at certainly had a family sort of one room, like a bigger bathroom. And people when you talk about like the bathroom issues, people are like, we either just have single kind of stall rooms, or which my middle school actually had like just single bathrooms, like one occupant in and out. And you could do that, or you could have a third bathroom. And I think third bathrooms are good. Sometimes you got to do things in bathrooms that not everyone needs to smell or whatever. So, or you just want a little more space or a little more privacy or something. So you go to the third bathroom. So in general, I think they're good, but the reality of the situation is not all places are going to have the space to do that, or going to want to pay to do all that, you know. So I think general rule of thumb, if you're a man, you should stay out of the woman's bathroom. That's my thing. Men like don't seem to care so much, but you know, about who's going into theirs. But women, we do care. A lot of women care. Maybe there's some women who don't care so much, but especially if you can pass, I suppose. But if you're male, I think you should stay out. That's my firm opinion. That I have an article about it on blacktnews.com, so you can go read it. I'm not going to jump down the whole rabbit hole today. But people were upset about Target taking that stance. And I think in some stores where they didn't maybe have a third bathroom, they started building one. But that did do a dent for them. But I'm not surprised, though, to see all this stuff like in their store. I'm really, really not. Like the trans people will always exist. Well, I guess the question is, like, I understand who trans people are, what they, you know, as far as their mentality, like the transsexuals, you know, they're born one way, they have dysphoria, and they do things to their body to kind of try to meet that, well, I guess to alleviate their dysphoria. But no one is transitioning into anything, though, because you can't. So there's that. Then there's the naked people on the shirts, the embracing the hairy legs, and everybody's got a misshapen, unattractive sort of body going on there. And it's very weird. How come all these people can't have clothes? What's with the obsession with the nudity here? You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird for the section of the, you know, of the pride clothes, and they're, you know, those are for young teens or whatnot, with those sizes, but they have them in baby onesies, different stuff, which, you know, people buy stuff for their kids, I guess, of various politics, and try to like kind of have them be their political trophy, but this is weird. It's weird. So should people boycott, you know, Target? I guess if you want some kind of change, I suppose, you know, you don't spend your money in the belly of the beast, where people are gonna use the money to do detestable things against you, I suppose. So Eric July has a good saying, and he says, don't spend more than 50% of your money on people who hate you. I think that's a pretty good rule. It's one of the reasons why I don't watch Disney Plus. Haven't watched a Marvel movie or TV show since WandaVision. The last film I saw was Endgame. You know, I haven't seen Star Wars, you know, stuff, any of the new stuff for a while. I just kind of let all that go. I know you guys have heard me talk about the live action Little Mermaid. I have no intention of actually saying it. Never did. I will continue to commentate on it, though, because it's interesting. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good rule. So if you don't want to support Target, don't support Target. But Allie Stuckley made a point, like when the stuff started going around, she's like, I haven't shopped at Target for over a year, because Target started selling chest binders. So I find it interesting, because the purpose of, you know, these images where they have these people of all different shapes and their hairy legs and their, you know, fat bodies and etc., you know, and the person here who's disabled and so on, you know, they're just showing people in their kind of true-ish forms and being true to themselves, just naked and without any sort of apology, I guess. But when it comes to chest binders, though, you're being encouraging of people binding who they are. um harming who they are for the sake of their true selves, who they think they are or claiming to be. So that's a really niche thing that Target obviously didn't have to start selling. I heard they're also doing like tuck kind of bathing suits and other things like that. That's what I heard, but I know that they're doing chest binders. So yeah, they've been doing super 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 woke stuff for a while. But I think the bathroom stuff did hurt them back in the day, but that was 7 years ago. And I think people eventually just kind of like let go, forgave them, went back to going to Target. But the chest binder thing is pretty bad. I think people can go get those online somewhere else. They don't have to be at Target. Target they don't have to sell them. And but the thing is though, this corporation, like many of these corporations, don't actually care about people. They may have some kind of political agenda, don't get me wrong. But as far as like them being open and inclusive and just caring about folks, Target has been accused of racism and like discrimination and other kind of things before. And the reason, and I will say that I'm not a fan of Target, is because I worked there. I used to work at Target back in the day. So, I call Target the place where dreams go to die. And it was just an awful place to be. And it was my first like retail job. Two of my sisters already worked there. So there's three of us who were working at the same time. One was a cashier, one worked in shoes. And I went in at 4 a.m. to unload the truck and stock the shelves. I put in a lot of work into my job, and when it was time for my raise, it was like 6 cents. And I kept telling everybody, like, I did a TikTok about this, so maybe some of you guys remember this, but everyone kept telling me, look, they don't give you a good raise. Doesn't matter how good you work. They don't give you a good raise on the first year because they don't have to. So it's going to be very, very low. And I kept saying, guys, I'm a really, 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 really good worker though. So in my mind, I'm just like, they'll make an exception for me because I work hard. They might schedule you like 4 hours and then ask you to stay like until the truck is done. Maybe it's 8 hours, maybe it's 12 hours or something crazy like that. They do crazy things with the schedule and but if they need help or whatever, I was there, call me in, switch people. Like, I was dedicated to trying to, do my job well and make money. So to make money. Actually, specifically, I was there to pay off a debt to my mom. Like, I was there to make money. But when I got that little teeny raise, I just felt so undervalued and underappreciated for sure. And my boss, I had to try to sell it like it was like a reasonable, but I knew like that's just what they do. I just didn't want to accept it. And then also, like, if you came in before 8 a.m., they gave you like an extra 50 cents per hour. So they were getting rid of that. So they baked it in or something. So instead of getting 50 cents, they just were like, okay, well, you're going to make 16 cents instead of like the 6, or it was like 6 or 8 cents. And altogether, it ended up being like 16 cents or whatever. And I was just like, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put in this job, and you're like telling me it's worth like 6 cents or something like that. And my boss didn't even really know much what to say. He felt bad that I felt bad, and then his boss felt bad that I felt bad and was upset. And so, but I knew that was a position they put them in. And if you had worked there for a long time, eventually they just kind of capped you at a certain amount, and they just find reasons not to give you a raise. You'd have to be like ultimate supreme good to be still getting raises. And they just didn't want to give you one at a certain amount. Target didn't want to. So there are people who've been there for a very, very, very long time who would bust their butts. Elderly women who just would not give them a raise at all. And if you were management and you were there too long, they would push you out. And that's eventually what happened to my boss. They pushed him out. But then what they would do, they would hire in people with no experience to be your manager. But they had a college degree. So they didn't want to elevate people who didn't have college degrees. So my sister was there longer than I was. And so they didn't really want to elevate her because she didn't have a college degree. And I'm like, she's selling shoes. And she's worked her way up and knows the department. So she would have bosses that she would have to train. And so at the same time, I know they're treating me not well. I see them treating my sister like garbage, and I'm the big sister. And so it all weighed very heavy on me. So, I hated that place. I hated that place. And one of, there were people who came in and left, and, not high in the organization, but different managers and stuff who were black and stuff that talked about like Target being bad was as far as discrimination and other stuff. So I can't say that I ever felt particularly racially discriminated against, that I noticed, at least I'll say that. But it just isn't a great company. And I know that's probably like a lot of other companies out there, but if you start a business, if you have some kind of corporation, just treat your employees well to the best of your abilities, and make sure that the people under you are treating your employees well. Because if you don't value, you can only pay what you can pay, and you got to pay people what they're worth. And if they can't meet that, if you can't meet that, then people need to move on it and get that experience and take it to go to another place. And that's what I had to do. So, and that's what happened eventually when I found another job. But, you really will kill the spirit of the people who are putting their heart, mind, and soul into the organization. So yeah, I didn't like the place. It really did feel like a soul sucker. And, I could go more into, different things, and kind of more my state of mind when I happen to be there, but I don't want to get too long with the segment, but I've never enjoyed Target. I know so many people love Target, and they have red cards and spend so much money. I know when you go there, and like the clothes and like the shoes and all the kind of stuff you guys can get there. But, and again, many of you probably have similar experiences at other jobs. I'm just telling you, the companies want to increase kind of like their social credit score for doing different stuff like LGBT pride, and they do it to buy virtue, but that doesn't make them good. That doesn't make them righteous. That doesn't make them virtuous. If they wanted that, they could start with their employees and how they treat people. So my 2 cents, or that's probably more than 2. Anyway, let's move on. I'm going to bring on Tina to join me.
Hello, Christina. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. You're probably louder than me, but oh, by the way, I think the other day when we were live, it sounded, because I watched it back because I was clipping it. It didn't sound like our mics were on at all.
Really?
Yeah, last week. I don't know what was up. So, because everything was plugged, but
everything was plugged in. I don't know. Well, the studio was in disarray last week, so
yeah, it was. But anyway, we still had fun.
Yeah, we had fun.
We had fun. So, Tina brought to attention a video that Dove produced. So we're gonna go ahead and watch their video and go from there. So I saw quite a bit of people have already talked about it. I saw Eric July had talked about it. I didn't see his commentary on it yet though, but this is kind of like the hot social commentary. Hold on, I'm gonna start that back. Wait, before I finish this thing, I gotta just commentate right now because we just got done talking about Target and the chest binders and how they started selling chest binders and whatnot. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you go away. Um,
Just
Well-
Thanos snapped me away.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Um, so we just saw this whole ad is gonna be about body positivity and stuff, and she's obviously wore all this stuff that sucked everything so tight, and Dove's message is gonna be like, no, show your real self. And I'm like, but these same kind of people, and I'm not saying that Dove is selling chest binders or in support of it, but I'm saying the mentality of these woke corporations are also like, no, hide who you truly are if internally that's you feel differently. So they're not always like pro body, because they'll if people are like, oh, you're big and you want to lose weight or something, that's a bad thing. Like, people are mad at Louis because they wanted to lose weight. But if you're fat and you know and you just like to exercise, that's because you're a healthy fat athlete person, not but if you want to lose weight and you're fat, that's evil.
Yeah.
You know, so people just have such a skewed sense of reality right now. So if people want to wear chest binders and do all kinds of things to hide their body, or or even go the distance to physically shave down their bones, or chop off their breasts like that beaver on Blue's Clues.
Yeah. And they'll applaud that, but the same kind of people that applaud that will tear down the Kardashian family and say, they're all fake, they're all plastic. But don't you want men to get titties and all this other stuff and bottom surgery so they can be this mismatched thing? Plastic surgery is plastic surgery, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of trans women like, they can pass. I'm like, they do not look natural. They don't look natural. Can't sing "You Make Me Feel Like." I can't say that song. It ain't natural, bruh. But anyway, let's keep watching. Or let me put it back. Nope.
There we go.
Oh, self-insert, huh? I didn't really think about that.
Well, I looked up the campaign after I had sent you the initial thing, and so the campaign, they got 4 women with real bodies, and they modeled these characters after them as a part of Dove partnering with ArtStation, which is a part of Epic Games, so the people that make Fortnite and Free Guys and other stuff like that. So they partnered with ArtStation to make these models of these women with real bodies. Like, skinny people don't exist, fit people don't exist, like, and to try and improve like the women, to make make gaming more inclusive, and these avatars that they made are free to use on whatever website. And so it's just like, fit people exist, thin people exist. I remember when the song All About That Bass came out, I had friends that were skinny, that because people started like skinny shaming, and they're just like, I'm skinny, I've been boning my whole life, like there's nothing I can do to change that. I eat a lot, I try to put on muscle, nothing really happens. And I don't appreciate like the reverse shaming. Like I'm if all the body types exist and if all body types are good and all that jazz, then why are you skinny shaming me? You shouldn't. If you really appreciate your body, then appreciate your body. Don't try to do the opposite and just hate on me for being skinny and being thin. And it's so funny. Someone I was talking to with had pointed out that it's funny that Epic Games was a part of this, because all the avatars for women that they put out are all, stick figures. And so it's like, oh, all of a sudden now they want to be inclusive and include these real women bodies. And it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird and the study, the Delve is the one that did the study. So that's 74% of women, they conducted their own study and then posted the stat.
Okay. I wonder how they conducted it. Like, did they ask random women? Did they go to a gaming convention?
I don't know. I tried to find out more about it. There wasn't a whole lot on Dove's website, but yeah, they did their own study and posted their own stat and their own video. So
okay, I thought I did think that stat was kind of high, but I'm like, okay, whatever. So when it finished, my first thought and the first thing I told you was that I would never pick that character. I would never pick that character because if I get a female character, I am getting a female character because they are light and they are fast and they move differently than the male characters because usually they're petite and they make them faster and they're smaller or whatever.
And they program them differently to have different attack patterns and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if there's a difference in you're playing Smash Brothers and you're Sheik versus if you're Ganondorf or something. I don't want a female Ganondorf,
Yeah.
That's not what I want.
Yeah.
So, and some people do, but if I did a fighting game or something, I'd want to do like an all female fighting game or something, and I would probably have all of them would pretty much probably be small, fast, just kill shot kind of people, and maybe there's going to be maybe there'd be a muscly woman or something, because you got to have some kind of who's the muscle person or whatever, but she probably would not be chubby like that. So
also another thing, like, she didn't put on like armor that fit her body. She just went out there in like a regular outfit to fight. It's just like me thinking that when she takes off her armor, because I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for so long, I'm like, oh, her armor class just decreased by at least like 3 whole points. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is a really bad idea. Like, a part of people like to have like different skins, even if in Fortnite or in whatever Fortnite, and I'm trying to think of other games where there's like a lot of different skins, but all I can think of are all the different Fortnite skins I've seen. I'm sorry, but people like to wear different skins. They like to see different outfits. They like to see different armor. They like to even if the play style is still the same, they want to see their character do different things. I mean, there's a John Wick skin. There's a Spider-Man skins. There's Deadpool skins, and it's still just Fortnite. But people like to see different things, and so when she took off her armor and it was just like this plain outfit, I'm just like, okay, I would never pick you. Like, I would rather pick this skinny armored, even if it didn't change your stats. Visually speaking, it looked like a starter character outfit, and that's not how I want to play. Like, I want to get the big shiny armor at the end of the game, the big shiny, whether it's like big shiny black dragon armor or something. I want to get the big shiny armor because it's better quality, it's better craftsmanship. It has a different appeal.
It's also so separate from reality, because like, think about how many people cosplay, and would they cosplay like the normal outfit, or would they want to be impressive and go the whole armor route? Yeah. Depending on what your budget is, I guess that could make a big difference. But usually people want something that people will be like so impressed that you kind of put something together. If you're really like into your craft. Yeah. So
when you see people walking around as Wonder Woman, you don't see them walking around as regular Diana and regular clothes. You see them in the Wonder Woman armor with the braces and the
Lasso.
lasso. You know, you see them in the full armor. They don't just wear regular clothes with the hair and then the tiara or whatever. That's not what people do when they cosplay. So even if people cosplay and they don't have that body type, if they don't look like Wonder Woman, they'll still have the full
And
outfit.
and big girls go and put on corsets and stuff. We're about to go to Comic-Con this weekend, will there be corset shops there? There absolutely will be.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
there's a particular shape that people want when they're trying to be a character, they dress up, they do that stuff. But men are the ones who play a lot of video games, and men like to play as female characters as well. So if they want to be a female character, which we had this conversation for another video game thing that I was talking about some
Hmm.
weeks ago. And it was a video where it was a trans woman who was saying something about all the reasons why, you know, what makes a girl or something. He's like, picking a female character in video games still kicking butt. I'm just like, men like to play as female characters too. And so there was like a couple guys that are like, nah, I don't play as females, but there was a lot of guys who said that they play as female characters. Reason being that if they got to play and look at a character, and especially particularly they're behind for like, 20, 30, 40 hours, they
Yeah.
want it to be like a nice tight kind of behind, I guess. And they
Hmm.
want to, see somebody sexy. So a lot of these video game characters, they don't design sure, they don't design them with women in mind, to kind of be what every girl behind the screen might be playing as. But it's also fantasy too, and a lot of
It
people
is
are
fantasy.
who are going to spend the dollars on those games are going to be males.
And another thing is, I saw like another promotional video for it, and they were like, "Oh, the character looks like me. I can relate to her." And it's just like, you can't relate to the character unless they look like you. I mean, growing up, a lot of characters, I mean, they didn't look like us.
Hmm.
Especially if they were black, they were dark skinned, and I mean, they might have had our hair texture,
Hmm.
but they didn't look like us. And so a lot of times when like growing up, I was like, oh, she has the same skin color as me. They were usually Asian. I'm like, oh, okay. And so like maybe I could like relate to someone like that, but it was just like, you don't have to look like a character to relate to them in the least bit. I mean, a popular game on Steam a couple of years ago was called I Am Bread, and you just had to be a piece of bread and get inside the toaster without like causing a lot of destruction of the house. You were just a sentient piece of bread, and you could just move the corners of the bread. And then there's
Okay.
like Pigeon Simulator where you're a pigeon, but your poop can like cause like bombs, explosions, and you can attack people. Like, you don't have to look like you in a game to relate to a game at all.
Did you relate to the piece of bread and the like?
I
Not all.
mean, it caused a lot of destruction. It's fun. It was fun to watch other people play. I might
There's
download it
there's a
later.
difference between like just playing a game and then having like a character arc and other things like that. But um, I mean, we've had this conversation the other day. I saw some people talking about the Little Mermaid and how some people were like, "Well, it's good that she's black because there's black people who need it for representation." Blah blah blah. And then in a thread, I saw some people talking about it, and they're like, "What is all this? Like, you need somebody to be that person to relate to them or whatever." And someone is like, "What?" And they're like, "Explain like Goku. Explain, Naruto, all these people who love these beloved characters." And there, I think on TikTok, if this is still true, it was like about a year ago. Naruto videos, I think, have more videos than anything else on TikTok. You know, um, and people really, really relate to those characters, and they're not black, but black people love those characters. and
Yeah,
and some and someone
and
said it's because it's more of a woman thing than a guy thing. Like guys, and there was some kind of they mentioned some kind of study where men were just like boys will play with a toy or whatever, and if they're playing with a Spider-Man or something, they'll believe that they're Spider-Man. But if a girl's playing with a doll or something, the doll becomes them. So I'm like, oh, I guess that kind of makes sense.
I mean, I kind of makes sense, but I just
We're
instead of
different
like,
people.
I mean, we are different people. We are peculiar people, but I think instead of like coddling these feelings of like, oh, these characters, these, you know, they need to look like you. I think people should just be able to relate to people that come from different backgrounds, different cultures. I mean, if you are playing a video game and you can relate to an elf, a dark elf or whatever, and their storyline and their character arc and whatever, and it's just like you don't have pointy ears, you don't have pitch black skin and red eyes or something like that. It's just like, I think we need to stop coddling these feelings of, oh, it has to look like you in order for it to represent you, because that's not true. That's not. I mean, if it's just not the way it works. It's not the way it should work, rather. And it's not the way it works with like majority of the people either, and especially a majority of their market base, because most people that play video games most of the time are men, and so it just feels like they're trying to coddle this like small minority, and it's just, I don't know. They're trying to like get more people into their gaming and get more customers, but also it's unappealing to the base that they already have.
There are also like skinny, pretty girls who like to play video games too. You know, it's not just like big girls who, I don't know. I don't know what people's perceptions are about all this stuff, but people of all different shapes and sizes and ages like video games. You know, it's an escape for a lot of people, that they sit down and they enjoy. They might enjoy being a piece of bread trying to go into a toaster, or they might like more complex storylines and stuff. And they might like particular games, and, you know, and only particular ones. So, you know, gaming can range for so many different folks. So, again, I would like to see how Dove came to that number. Because also how you ask questions in a survey can obviously impacts the kind of answers that you're going to get. Were they very leading questions, or was the question like, do you feel represented in a video game? And just because your answer might be no, does that matter? Like, if there's like all these fantastical stories and you're like a character and maybe you're going to go commit genocide, should you really be like, I'm so glad they're black? Like, I relate so much to this fat black person about to commit genocide, you know, like, it's fantastical for a reason. So, I think, it's really not a big deal so much that they need to pander this hard. But I do want to get back to Dove and their wokeness here. They are pretty woke. They're a pretty woke company.
You're gonna have to find new soap.
I know. Between the
Dove and Olay recently, it's just like, I've been using those two soaps my whole life, and so now it's just like, well, dang, I gotta branch out. I gotta find something else.
Now with Olay, like, because they had Dylan sponsored ad with Dylan, I didn't see it though. I just know they're on a list. Like, I was reading through a list. I'm like, okay, I don't use that. I don't use that. I didn't use that. I don't go to.
I saw his ad. It was like one of their face cleansers, and I'm just like, I mean, I don't use that cleanser. I use the body wash, but still, I don't know if I want you to have my money right now.
Yeah. So this is like one of their woke campaigns, like beauty isn't binary, and show us, you know, athletes of all sizes. Like, again, they kind of do that thing where like, it's okay to be fat, and, well, I assume this person in this ad isn't exercise. They're trying to show that fat people are healthy, as opposed to like fat people need to lose weight. And but of course they have the non-binary person here. Mm-hmm. So they are pretty woke. And I have a video from Dove that I can show, because they've been on a woke train for a while. So if you didn't know, unfortunately, let me ruin your life here.
In black trans power.
Beauty has always been something that has been a mainstay in my life. Taking pride in being an Indigenous person was so important.
When they say I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, honey, I do it in color. I'm gay, I'm fabulous.
Trans Latinas are powerful and incredibly beautiful.
I am a trans femme. I love putting on dresses and adorning myself.
When I looked in the mirror, I felt so comfortable, and from that day forth, it continued and continued and continued.
There's nothing more beautiful than seeing Black, queer, and trans people live in their power.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
That's the most beautiful thing? Not like a child laughing or like a sunset or something like that. A Black trans person is the most beautiful thing. It's just like, really? You ever seen like a rose? And that one person's comment about how she is her ancestors' dreams, like being like Black and queer. It's just like, I don't think that's what your ancestors would have wanted for you when they was getting beat on them plantations. Like freedom, yes. I don't think they would have been okay with the other things. I'm just saying. 1800s, I don't think that add up.
I have an offensive joke in my mind. I'm like, should I say it? Should I say it? Should I say it? Should I say it? If they would have known, maybe they would have jumped off the boat. I said it. So anyway, it's a joke. Anyway,
it's pretty spicy, man.
And I know. I know. It's out there. It's on the internet. So anyway.
Yeah, new soap.
It's amazing how much they want to uplift like men who identify as being women or believe they're women or want to claim they're women or whatever. If you want men included in your soap, just include men in your soap. Like,
yeah, they sell men's products. They have a men's line of body care and body wash.
But it's important for them to include these men as if they are also women. So it's so weird to me. It's so weird to me. Like there was this, I forgot to show this yesterday. This is in DC right now. Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter. And if you follow BLM at all,
it's not surprising.
It's not surprising that mentality. Basically, since their conception, when I first went on their website, it was reading into them and stuff. They made it very clear that trans people were more important. Trans women were more important than just, well, I don't like this word, but I'll just say for men, like normal men. I won't say this.
Normal Black men.
That having drag queens or trans women, they overruled them, and the reasoning was that's because they're more discriminated against or whatever, blah blah blah. But I'm like, why more important though? Are these people that you go out in the streets and march for and stuff, are they normally trans people who are shot and stuff? Not that it's a huge number who are unarmed people shot by police anyway. Yeah. But why is that your priority, and you're letting everyone know that you're prioritizing them over the rest of these Black men? So when the What We're About page, or What We Believe page, came out during 2020, and people were looking into it and reading it, and it said we want to dismantle cisgender privilege and we want to disrupt the nuclear family, that page, so that section got a lot of controversy, but they talked about all the people they're inclusive with.
Oh, did something happen to your sound? Or is that me? I think you're muted. I can't hear you still. I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. My headphones are in. You can't hear me? No, I still can't hear you. And someone in the YouTube chat says they can only hear me. No, I still can't hear you. I don't know what's wrong. I wish I was there to help. I still can't hear you, Christine. Why is it every time that we're together something goes wrong? I feel like I'm bad luck for your show, guys. I'm so sorry. No, it's still gone. You can hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, there you go. There we go. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. But back to what I was trying to say. BLM, they made space for everyone except for a black father. They want to get rid of cisgender privilege, dismantle the family, disrupt the nuclear family, etc. Blah blah blah. If you're a single mother, they want to make space for you. If you're a trans person, they want to make space for you. If you're non-binary, they want to make space for you. But the person who they wouldn't uplift and talk about was the black father. And there's been so many issues and problems within the black community that can point right back to the lack of the breakdown of the family unit. So when people start to get wind of that and hear that, that's when people started to disassociate on a more like national platform or level of saying, well, I can't associate with BLM. And that's why that page no longer exists. They ended up taking it down. At first, a lot of conservatives were talking about it and pointing to it. But once like people on ESPN and other folks started saying, I can't associate with that. Like, I can't approve of people trying to disrupt the nuclear family, because that's really what our problem is in the black community. That's when they decided to take it down. But their ideology didn't end. A lot of the money that they raised, they gave specifically to transgender issues. So I'm not surprised about this push for black pride and, you know, trans pride and stuff. So this is what's, you know, being promoted and pushed in DC and other places by Dove Soap and other folks. So I'm not surprised. Again, these woke corporations, a lot of them, it's not so much that they care about people in general, but it's the virtue. It's just like a social kind of credit score thing. They like to appear virtuous and whatnot. And they don't trust, I think, at the end of the day, that people are going to put their money where their mouth is. Bud Light was different. The men like stood up and said, no,
yeah,
we've had enough. And people, it's like they can take, women have a lot of the buying power. Most of the buying power, they're the ones who buy the products, go to the store, and in some cases manage the finances and all kinds of different stuff for their households. So unless women decide that enough is enough, they're going to just keep doing this stuff. So the power is all in our hands. Men were like, oh, I can't drink Bud Light anymore. And it has severely hurt them. But if women want to be like, oh yeah, sure, you can, if you really, really feel like it, I guess you can be a lady. Like if you open that door, people will a lot of people are taking advantage of women's agreeableness, their empathy, their kindness, and so on. So if you want to make a difference, you got to make a difference.
Yeah. We got to stand up and be like, this is my space and you're not allowed. I'm sorry. That's what's got to happen.
Well, anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. Tina joining on to, I guess we can always chat video games. Thank you for sending the video, and I apologize.
You're welcome.
For the malfunction with my mic there. I'm glad we got that working again. Thank you to people in the comments who are live chatting as all this is going down and watching. Tina, for those of you who do not know, she's the artist who did my cover for me for, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion. So she did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Her website is right there, tinastextportraits.com. So you guys can check out some of her art. Actually, that's some of her stuff behind her.
Yes, I have lots of tiny paintings.
You also have like big ones behind you.
I do have big ones. I just thought people couldn't see. This is an octopus. I've got other things, like islands and whatnot. There's a lot on my website that you can go and see.
Yeah, so go ahead and check out her stuff, and you guys can go pick up this book. It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Nobles, and so on. So go ahead and check out my stuff, and check out different articles I have. Please go look at that interview with Riley Gaines that I have. That's on YouTube. It's a very, very, very important conversation. So go ahead and check it out and share it because it's really, really crazy what people are doing to young women for the sake of this movement. Tina was there when we did the interview. She was camera person.
So, yes, I was.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.